Hi, I'm Patrick. This is my van, and this is my Cuddy Composting Toilet. I've had this one for over 2 years now. It's actually the 4th one ever made, and spoiler alert, I like it. I like it a lot. I did do van life for 4+ years without a toilet before this, so it's a simple thing to enjoy after that type of adventure, but I do really enjoy it. I think it is well made and well thought out, and luckily for us, I'm doing a new build that has a new toilet, so we can unbox it and see what's new, and I can keep talking about what I like, what I dislike, and why this might be the right one for you. I'm not saying it's the only viable options. Different things work for different people. I have a good sense of those things, so I'm going to talk to you about them in this video. But for now, let's check out this new van and unbox the newest offering from Compo Closet with their Cuddy toilet. All right, so this is my new build. It's also T1N Sprinter, but this one is long, and the Cuddy toilet is going right in there. And by right there, I mean right here, behind this door. That's not yet attached because the van is not yet complete. But it is one of the reasons I really like the Cuddy, and that's its form factor. It fits in small places, it's lightweight, it's easy to move, get out the door, clean, and the T1N Sprinter, it actually fits between the front seats. So 2 people are living in this van, and at night, the curtain can be closed, the toilet can go between the seats, and you have a separate bathroom to do your business. All right, let's get to it. The labels are all nice and clean. Don't hesitate to get in touch with us if your Cuddy is in any way damaged, you don't understand the instruction, adventure isn't what you ordered, which is strange, and you like toilet jokes. I personally am not the biggest fan of toilet jokes. I don't really think farts are funny. That's a personal preference, but I guess if you're in the toilet industry, it's something you have to embrace. And to be fair, they make pretty good toilet jokes. Not very crude. Okay, we got paperwork, a big old thank you. Can't wait to hear more about you and your adventures. Share pictures. If you're into sharing pictures, you want a toilet, follow that QR link. Avoid danger of suffocation, keep this, oh true. Don't let your babies play with plastic bags. That's cool, this bag is compostable. I like it. It's going in the box now, but it will go in my compost. Already I see some key differences. This knob is bigger, this lip is new. It's nice to be able to touch so cleanly. Wow, those hinges are nice too. And the inside you can see there's a bucket, and there's another bucket. That bucket is for liquids, that bucket is for solids, and that is really one of the main points of a composting toilet. And before I get too far, I do want to say, composting is only composting if you're composting it. If you're taking this and you're putting it in a trash bag and throwing it in a trash can, you're not composting, which is fine. But there's always this general consensus that these are composting toilets in RVs and stuff, when 90% of the time they're not composting, and the composting part of it might not be something you need to worry about. Obviously composting is most ideal, but when you're on the road and such, where are you gonna compost it? I don't really know what my point is there, but I always do feel like it's kind of weird we call them composting toilets, because they're capable of composting, but I think 90-something% of the time, nothing's being composted. All right, so there is the charcoal filter in here, which is how they filter out their air. There is a fan here, an exhaust fan, that is not required, but can be helpful depending on your situation. This is the bucket. The buckets only come out if they're facing, if the agitator is facing the right direction. That slides out. Could have given myself some more room, and this slides out. Boom. That is the liquid container. That is the solid container. That is the rest of the bucket. That's the little exhaust fan back there. That is where the charcoal drill. All right, I'll throw this charcoal, I was gonna say, charcoal grill. So I said charcoal drill, which was still incorrect. Charcoal filter. Okay, so I'll put this charcoal filter in. You get a look at that. This is refillable charcoal. I'm not sure how long it lasts. Pretty long. If I'm being honest, I've never replaced mine. Smell is still not an issue. But you just pop the cap off, pour out the charcoal, pour more charcoal in. Again, simple. And this presses in like that. And that is fully installed. And then this just goes back in like it showed up. And so does this. And this whole thing is now assembled. And I'm doing this with one hand while holding a camera. Okay, I'm getting a little confused trying to show you what's new and talking about what I do and don't like about it and comparing it to other toilets. So I'm going to take a moment here and just show you how this works, show the system, show the simplicity, and then we'll get into what I do and don't like about it and how other toilets can compare to this option for you. So that's the toilet. This lid opens and you should always be sitting. That's always how this works. If you're trying to aim into this, it's not gonna work, it's gonna splash, and you're gonna cross-contaminate your liquids with your solids, and you do not wanna do that. That is what creates smell. They did add this lip here, which isn't there on mine, which is great, and then this knob is also bigger, so it's easier to turn, except it's taped shut. Boom. There you go, look at that. That was like magic. Boom. Open, close. So you do your number 2, you do your number 1, you close up. This pulls out and mixes. I also like this for pulling out because it becomes an easy grab handle. When this is so square and you're trying to fit it into small places, if it didn't have an easy thing to grab, that would create some problems. But that's there. This churns. And as you turn this, that turns and it agitates. When that gets filled, you take it out, you put it in your compost, you put it in your trash bag, you dispose of it properly. When the urine gets filled, you pull this out, you take the cap off, and you get rid of it properly. Mature trees, public bathrooms, your mom's house, whatever works for you. Nice and simple. There is a magnetic float in here, which is also new and probably my favorite part. The system I have has like these sensors that has to touch that, and it got complicated and it doesn't work anymore. They changed that pretty early on, and I think they've even improved it since then. But this has a float which attaches to this. This is a magnet, I believe. So the float comes up, the magnet touches this, and it tells you that this is getting full, and then this light turns on so you know that this is getting full and you don't overflow it. A plus to this is if you do overflow it, it just goes into a plastic container that's not going to hurt anything, and you can easily take out this whole unit and clean it. That's the exhaust fan. It gets plugged in with the power cable that they provide. Underneath here is a plug. Again, this is cut in. You don't have wires sticking out the back, so if you're fitting this into a cube that is only this big, it still fits. And then this is the exhaust air. You could run a tube onto this out to somewhere if you'd like, or just let it run and move some air. Again, the smell, not that big of a thing. Again, this notch has to face down when it's going into it so that it slips over that down there. This is a trapezoid that the fat end has to fit backwards. That all closes. And you're back to square one. Okay, now that we showed you how it worked, I'm gonna tell you what I like about it. What I do like about it, which you've probably picked up on, is the size. It is a cube. When you're building vans and small spaces, the best thing to do is use cubes and fit it into spaces. And you don't get that with pretty much any other toilet on the market. There are smaller toilets. There are I think the Trillino, and there's another one that is a cube. Those almost go too simple for me, and if you're gonna use something like that, you might as well just use a 5-gallon bucket. There's not an agitator, the separators are there, but there's not an exhaust fan and there's not an agitator, and I do think that those things do help, and I still think this is a better form factor. I think this seat is more comfortable. I've sat on those seats and they feel a little more rinky-dink. This does not feel like a typical toilet at your house. It's pretty close. It has contours, but it doesn't feel like that. If that type of feel is something that you're looking for, the Nature Head is way better at that. That feels much more like a proper residential toilet that you're probably used to. But cleaning that thing is a chore. It is heavy, it is cumbersome, and it's kind of weird. It doesn't have a separate container on the inside for the solids. The bottom of that unit is the container, which in some ways you think is simpler, but then when you go to cleaning it, it's a lot less simple. You have to pull the whole thing out, separate the whole thing. You have this big bottom thing that has all these ledges and creases and corners and all of that kind of stuff. And I've seen a lot of people trying to clean those things and having a bad time. And I don't want to have a bad time when I'm cleaning my toilet. I'd like it to be simple, easy, fast, and that's what this gets you. So that simplicity is one of my biggest pluses for the Cuddy toilet. There's some other toilets out there on the market that are a lot more complicated, that do these vacuums and these churnings and this and that. And for me, that just sounds like things that are gonna break. You're in a van, things are moving, things are getting thrashed around, mistakes happen. And when you have a complicated system, you gotta spend more time fixing those complications. When things are as simple as this, it's pretty simple and there's really nothing else to do besides empty this and empty this. Can't get more simple than that. Some other toilets on the market, and they actually just released one that does this, are single take bags. It's pretty much a long bag. You do your business and it vacuums and twists it so that it separates it from the rest of the bags. And then you don't need material, like composting material, to be in there. And again, I don't love that personally. It sounds like there's motors that are sideways on the bottom. If things spill and get on the bottom, they might mess things up. You're using that plastic bag, which isn't necessarily the best, although you are probably putting this compost into a plastic bag, so that might be a give and take. But it just kind of complicates things. I think those probably smell less technically, but I've been using mine for years and it really doesn't smell. And that's without the exhaust fan working often, because it's not plugged in and that's not something I'm worried about. So yeah, I do want to mention before I forget that it seems their electrical plug is now kind of bungee-like, and it comes in this bag. I wonder why. Substrate hydration bag. Interesting. That seems a little extra, not gonna lie, but see, they have made improvements, and now I'm back talking about how this thing works. So this is a cap for the charcoal filter. So if you're spraying down the inside, you can cap it and not get water into your charcoal. They give you a Compo Closet sticker, which is always nice. Moon, you can see mine not up there. Yes, and their electrical cord is now stretchy. So in my van, like you saw in the beginning, it pulls out on a slide. So it needs a cord that is stretchy. The original cord wasn't stretchy. I emailed them and they sent me a link to one that was stretchy because they're super nice and responsive. And now it just comes with one. This seems very thick, very high quality. The leads are already there. It plugs in, it goes into that spot so it doesn't stick out like I already said. And then there's this thing, which I've never seen before. And I don't know what that is for, except maybe plugging the back of it. Yes, indeed. It fits into the air output on the back of the toilet. If for some reason you didn't want air going out of that. I guess if you're trying to contain all of the smell just to the toilet, you can plug it and there won't be that hole, you know, because technically it's a hole through a fan though. I don't really know what that plug is for, but if you need a plug to plug the output of your air, it now comes with it. It also seems like this comes with a replacement filter for that charcoal, which is nice of them as well. And then yeah, this substrate bag, which is, I guess it makes sense maybe. When you're using a compost toilet, I use coconut husk, which comes in dried bricks. You might have seen them before. You kind of break them up, you get them a little bit wet, and they kind of puff up and become more of a soft material that mixes better. I always just do that in that container, in the bucket. I take the bucket out, I break up the stuff, put it in there, put some water in there, it absorbs. It works really well, it's super easy. I guess if you wanted to do that in this bag, you could do that, but I don't know why you would do that. Maybe there's a different type of substrate that people use where that is required, or makes things better. I would have to assume it is if it came with it, but it also might just be a plastic bag, which I can't tell you I understand that one, but maybe there is a reason. All right, this does feel like a little bit of rambling. Possibly doing an unboxing and review at the same time was not the smoothest idea, but I hope you did get a good sense of things. I'll try to break it down in a conclusion right now. So all these upgrades to this fix all of the issues I had with my toilet. I loved my toilet for 2 years. It's incredibly easy to use, to clean, to take care of, to fit into a space, to make work for what you're doing, and I really like it. The new one is even better because it has those fixes. This stays up except when wind is blowing on it. This knob is bigger. They fixed the cord, they fixed this. It's good. From my 2 years of experience with the other one, any complaints I would have is kind of fixed by this one. It is important to know I haven't used all the toilets for multiple years. I have been in a van for over 7 years. I have seen a lot of toilets. This is the only one I've ever personally used in one of my rigs. All my experience with other toilets are seeing other people's, talking to other people's, watching all the other videos that you're watching, and these are my conclusions. So they're not perfect, and you shouldn't take them as perfect. But I do think I take a lot of time to figure out what is best and what I'm gonna put in my rigs and what's gonna work best for the people I'm building for. I'm very big about making a system that works and flows so that living on the road is a joy, and you don't just do it for a couple months and then say, this is too hard, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I think this is the greatest thing you could do with your life, and I think this is truly a very high part of making that happen. Being able to not use a public toilet, being able to be on your own time, wake up in the morning, not have to go right outside is huge, and having something to allow you to do that in such a clean, easy to use, easy to clean way is fantastic. Those other toilets do get you some of those pluses, but then you go to the cleaning or it breaking or the simplicity of it, and they kind of fall short from where I'm coming from. I really think the biggest one is if you want more of a real feel, if you're building a school bus or an RV, maybe you're older and getting so low is harder for you. It's not that low, but it's definitely lower than the Nature's Head. If those are issues, you might want to go with the Nature Head. They feel more residential, they're taller, that part of it is certainly better. When you bring things down to a cube, you kind of lose that. But also this cube fits in more spaces than that Nature Head does. Unless you have a big old space in your rig to fit a toilet, but then you got to pull that big old toilet out of your big old rig to clean it, and that's kind of a pain. This will certainly be simpler. All those other ones that do all those other things with the bags and stuff, that overcomplicates it for me. If this system works so well, why would I complicate it more to solve issues that I don't have? Anyway, I guess that's all of it. If you have questions, please let me know. I hope you are doing well. There's lots more videos to come. I have this whole build going. I've got a time lapse working on that. I have gear I've been reviewing. Life has chapters. I haven't really been doing the video thing, but this next chapter is definitely going to include it. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, join along. If not, that's totally okay. I hope you gain enough information to make a better or more educated decision on if you want something like this. And I hope you have a good day. I hope you're doing well or doing the work that needs to be done so that you are doing well, and maybe I'll see you next time. Bye. It is a glorified bucket, absolutely. People always love to say it's a glorified bucket, but it's a really glorified bucket. It has all the things about a poop bucket that you would want a poop bucket to have, so why would you not get the poop bucket?